Hey, and welcome back to Love Restore. I'm your favorite host, Marshaun Olaniyan, and you are listening to and or watching KCCR Brownstone Cityscapes Radio. Thank you so much for coming back once again to the third episode within this season. So we have been talking about the angry Black woman and who told us that. And today we're taking a deeper dive into that topic, and we're saying, sis, you're not difficult. You're just discerning. So listen, there's so many things that I can say about this topic, and I just really want to say that you okay. I see you. I hear you. I am you, because they called you difficult. They called you demanding, too much. But let's be honest, sis. You've just learned not to lower your standards and to be more digestible. Like we're no longer lowering our standards to be digestible. You're not asking for too much. You're asking the right way. And it's time that we back these things up with facts. Nearly 60% of Black women in leadership say that they feel they cannot fully be themselves at work. Many carry that masking into their personal lives, unsure how to show up soft without being seen as weak. Again, sis, you are not difficult. You are just discerning. Now, how confident Black women often get labeled as difficult at work and in love. This is just history. Literally, it's history. Each and every time we as Black women try to move forward, there is somebody outside of us trying to bring us and tear us down. That is okay, because it's just a known fact of what people do to Black people in general. And then adding on that we are women, adding on the resting bee phase, adding on the Black women syndrome, adding on she's difficult, adding on, like, it's just a whole bunch of stuff that society has put on us to make it seem like we are more difficult than we actually are. But because we are no longer settling, because we are no longer asking for permission, because we are no longer lowering our standards in order to be seen, not only in the boardroom, but also in the bedroom, we are seen as difficult. And I have to tell you, it's just not true. You don't have to lower your standards to be seen. You don't have to lower your standards to be one in a room full of many. We were designed to stand out. We are the queen mothers. We have birthed the race. So you're not too difficult. It's just now we have gotten so tired of being quiet and being silenced that sometimes it comes out and looks like we're angry, but it's mainly frustration. Why do we got to keep saying the same thing over and over again? Whether it's in a different tone, whether it's a different type of sentence, whether it's a different phrase, it does not matter. The world sees us and actually has a fear of us to a certain capacity, which is why they put all these labels on us, because we are creating our own way consistently. And let me back that up with the fact right here, because Black women are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs within the U.S. According to the Harvard Business Review, Black women represent 42% of new women-owned businesses, which is 3 times their share of the female population. Let me translate that for you. We're building empires, and we're not difficult for expecting alignment in love as well. We're not. We're just asking for the very thing. Now, one of the things that I can back up and say, our tone may not be the best. The delivery may not be the best. The timing may not be the best. So there are areas in which we can work and become better. we can deliver the same message in a softer way so it's actually received. We can take some of this defensiveness and our armor and relinquish some of that and ask more questions. Be curious. This is something that I do with my clients. So because sometimes I actually know the answer, but instead of me being a know-it-all, I know the answer. I literally just go a little bit deeper and say, hey, you said X, Y, and Z. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Or you said that you felt this way about ABC. Can you tell me why you felt that way about ABC? So instead of me accusing or blaming or shaming my clients, now I'm asking follow-up questions and or deeper questions to get them to start speaking, because a lot of times once we start talking, we can identify our flaw. So me as the listener, as the coach, I'm doing a lot of listening to what you're saying. Sometimes I'm listening to what you're not saying. So then I can interpret what that is that I heard. Those of you who are not watching, I did air quotes right there, because I can literally hear what you're not saying. I remember I was talking to actually, she's still a current client, but when we first started working together a few years back, and she was telling me about some of her childhood stuff. And I remember posing the question to her, has your mom always not protected you? And when I say it was a long, pregnant pause from her, she was like, nobody has ever been able to tell me and or point that out to me. And I've shared this story with several people, including some therapists before, and nobody has ever asked me the question about my mom. So that's what I mean about me being able to hear some of the things that you're not even saying. Long story short, she said I nailed it right on the head. She had never thought about it. And it was something that was definitely an area where we had to work through multiple times, her getting comfortable enough to ask more questions, maybe even confront her mom about some things. And I'm using that word loosely because it's not about confronting. It's not about blaming. It's about recognizing exactly what was what. And then giving your parent or guardian the grace to say they did the best with what they had to work with. Maybe they didn't want to get the help that they needed in order to be a better parent. And I know in our community, that's not something that was huge, and that wasn't something that we were doing back in the day. It's now my generation and further generations where therapy and coaching and being open about your feelings and talking about the things that happen in your household is now becoming more acceptable in the world. So the world can understand why you are who you are. So I understand there is some of that going on as well, but you are not too difficult. You are discerning. You are asking for the very thing that you believe that you need and that you deserve. And you do. So again, there may be some timing things there. There may be tone of voice that you can work up on. There may be your delivery that you can work up on. But overall, you still need to use your God-given discernment and use your voice so the other people can understand where you're coming from and why you are who you are. Now let's talk about the difference between high standards and being closed off. This one right here, it kind of gets me because I think that some people believe that having high standards usually is all about the physical of the other person, where he has to, well, I said physical, but it could be physical as well as what he has, like assets. So the physical, he has to be a certain height. Sometimes I've even heard women talk about the penis size. It has to be a certain size, a certain girth, a certain length. I've heard a lot of things. Okay. Or it could be that his bank account has to be he has to drive a certain car. He has to live in a certain neighborhood. Like the list goes on and on and on and on. He has to have a bald head, or he has to have dreadlocks, or like there are so many facets of what people want. And what I really want more people to pay attention to is his characteristics. All of those things are great if he is in alignment with the characteristics that you want in a partner. All of the physical and the bank account and the car, all of that's great if his goals and values are in alignment with your own. Having all of those things, being taken out on trips and, catching flights, as one of my other coach friends always says, all of that's great. But if you are lacking in emotional intimacy or the emotional connection where you get everything that your little heart desires, except him, except the quality time, except the shoulder that you need to lean on. He always wants to get up and go. He cannot be a part of your everyday, day-to-day, mundane stuff that life brings. You're going to feel lonely. And somebody, it might be both of y'all, might just be one of y'all. Somebody's going to go outside to get their needs met. I'm not saying that it's right to do. I am saying that it is where we're at in life. And each of us deserve to have our needs met. Being closed off is saying that I won't date somebody because they are of the shorter height that you require. Him not having the penis size that you say that you want and or deserve. Him not being able to last long in bed. I actually was listening to a different set of coaches on YouTube not too long ago, and they were talking about this very topic. And somebody had wrote into the coaches, and she wasn't satisfied with her sex life because I won't do the whole description here, but she wasn't satisfied in her sex life. And essentially they were asking her, well, did you at least have the conversation with him? And so in her defense, what she was saying is, I did it wrong the first time around. Now I tried to do it right. And she's talking about her marriage. I did it wrong the first time. I was having sex before. We basically went down the road, and now I wanted to do it differently this time around. Great. Applause. But now she's saying that because she waited, she didn't know what he was working with in the lower area, i.e. his penis. She just didn't know what he's working with, and now she's not sexually satisfied. And so I remember the man coach basically saying to her, listen, you can't have it both ways. You say that you want to do it all right, and you want X, Y, and Z and ABC and whatever, right? And now you're doing it better this time around. And so now he's not as great. Y'all need to have a conversation. He probably needs to check his testosterone levels, because the two of them were actually in their 50s. So check their testosterone levels. He probably needs to eat healthier. Both of you probably need to work on your physique and just other things, other ways for her to keep him engaged longer. Like she even had the minutes that he was, like the time that he was able to keep his man aroused. In the bedroom. Like she had aired some of that, and then she went to one of her friends, and one of her friends actually said that, girl, you actually what'd she tell her? You're still in the time frame of getting an annulment. And the friend said that to her because the one who wrote in, who asked the question, was only married for 4 months. And so it's literally taking time to ask the difficult questions. And you know that if you have a high sex drive, and you know that is going to be something that is going to keep you in the relationship, keep you satisfied in the relationship specifically, then that is a conversation that you need to have. And to her defense, she did say that they had some conversations about it. But it's just not enough. And so she's wondering what she should do. And I think that both of the coaches handled it well. They essentially said, ask some questions, figure out what it is that you can actually do, as well as him working on his end. So the two of you can come together, and then now you're working in the area together. So it's not just all him and not just all you having the conversation instead of just throwing in the towel, because none of us are perfect, and you're not going to get the perfect person that check marks all of the things, all of your boxes that you want. There's going to be something that he's lacking in. And so she said he's a really great guy. This one area in her life is making her really question, should she get a divorce or not? And I'm not saying that it's a small thing, but what I am saying is, if you are listening to this and you are in a situation like this, find ways to have more conversations, find ways to be able to work with your spouse, because I am pro-marriage, even though I have been a part of this statistic. I am pro-marriage, and I wish now the information that I know now, the information I come here and impart to you, ladies and gentlemen that are watching and are listening, I wish that I had the information that I now have. I wish I had it when I was younger. But such is life, and maybe I wouldn't be a coach if I had the information prior to. Anyway, I digress. Let me jump back into this conversation, sis. You're not difficult. You are just discerning. Let's talk about why being discerning is an act of self-respect. It is because you are giving yourself the opportunity to reflect and evaluate on the data that you have collected while dating this person. It is allowing you to make an informed decision about the relationship, whether you should continue on or not. And I'm talking about prior to saying I do. It is a point of self-respect because it is an act of self-respect. I can't talk. Being discerning is an act of self-respect because you're not just going off of your heart. You're going off the facts. You're not just being highly emotional. You're saying, okay, this is what has been happening based off of your entire relationship. This is what's been happening. This is how I've been feeling when I'm with him. This is what I notice when I'm with him. And then now, again, this is where you can make an informed decision. So should you continue to see this person or not? You're not difficult. You're just discerning. Being able to use your God-given discernment is something that's going to only help you. It is an act of self-respect because no longer are you willing to just accept a piece of a person, a piece of a man, just to say that you have a relationship, only for it to end up in the very place that you don't want, which is a breakup or a divorce. Instead of going down that road and now you're building resentment and you're wasting a lot of time, energy, and effort, you're like, you know what, I'm actually good. This is not working out. So based off of the information that I have collected while dating said person, I don't feel that we are compatible. Our values and goals are not in alignment. Based off of the conversations that we had, I believe in marriage. He doesn't. Now, these are just examples, right? I believe in marriage. He doesn't. So I don't want to just date or be girlfriend and never become wife. It's okay that he believes that way. It's okay that I believe this way, but we are not a match. I don't see our lives in alignment, right? One of my goals is to open up or to write a book and have a business. He's not into that. He really wants me to do or to be this type of way. I don't think I could be that type of way. I really want to pursue other things. So really just understanding. And then some characteristics. How nice is this person? What is the treatment that you are receiving from this person? What have you noticed on how he treats his mom and siblings and exes and children and coworkers and just people in general? The waiter and waitress. How rude is he? And then one of the things that I was having a conversation with a coach yesterday, and we were talking about how when I'm coaching someone and they're asking me, should we get married? We're really compatible. We met not too long ago, and not too long ago is independent. So what I like to say is before you say I do and even think about even getting engaged, at least see 4 seasons. I would highly recommend 8, which is 2 years, but 4 seasons, 1 year. So you can get to see this person at their high. You can get to see this person at their low. You can get to see this person when they're frustrated. You can get to see this person when they're angry. You can see how this person handles conflict or lack thereof. You can see how when he gets angry specifically at you, how he's speaking to you. Is it with love and care, or is he blowing a gasket? Is he punching walls? And I'm saying he, but she could be doing the same thing. So 4 seasons, the minimum, before you even get engaged. Because you want to, life has highs and lows all the time. Now that entire year could totally be a high. It totally can stay high because sometimes highs last long and then sometimes lows last long. And the year is relative, whether it's long or short. Moving on. So my point is for you to really see him at his low. And I'm not saying low is, but a low point to see how he handles those things. Does he shut down completely? Does life just fall apart? Because that is going to play a big part in your long-term life? Is he going to shut down completely and now you have to pick up the bag in every facet of your life? Is he a person that loses his job all the time? He can't hold jobs. He can't hold friendships. He doesn't have any long-term friendships. He hasn't been on the job longer than 5 years. And I'm not talking about him changing careers completely, but like we're more mature in life. People that follow me and subscribe to the conversations that I have more gray on their hair. And so we're not spring chickens out here. You're not difficult. You're discerning. It is an act of self-respect. You don't want to keep repeating the same things over and over and over again. You want to change up your actions and your behaviors and the things that you're willing to accept so you can get different results. So it is an act of self-respect to be discerning. Let's talk about how softness doesn't mean lowering the bar. It means being approachable. Softness has nothing to do with you being weak. It has nothing to do with you lowering the bar. It has nothing to do with you throwing away your standards. What it is it is you being approachable, but it's also you showing up in your feminine energy. And what I mean by that, a lot of people that I coach are in high power positions. And so most of them showcase a lot of masculine traits or characteristics. And so when I'm working with them, I'm making sure that they are aware that in your love life, in your loving romantic relationship, the same skill sets that helped you or is helping you in your career to be the top dog, to make the money that you're making, you cannot bring those same set of skills into your relationship the entire time in your relationship. There are going to be times where you need leadership skills in your relationship. And the majority, specifically when you are the woman, the majority is you're going to be in your soft. You're going to be in your feminine. You're going to be in your receiving, supporting, allowing him to take the lead so the femininity can show up in you. If you are continuously taking the skills from being a leader, like planning and delegating and leading, obviously, and managing into your love life, that's two masculine energies, and now you're bumping heads. And you're wondering why he can't understand that you are a powerhouse. It's not that he don't understand it. He knows that. But when you come home, he wants his wife. He doesn't want his boss. He doesn't want somebody telling him what to do. And he definitely don't want his mama. He wants his wife. He wants his friend. He wants his lover. He wants his playmate. He wants somebody to laugh with, to have fun with. He misses that person. Because a lot of times we have a tendency to show up and have our mask on. And when we're in the dating stages, we're willing to do a lot of the flirting, being flirtatious and having fun and laughing a lot more. And then when we get into the relationship, life takes over and seriousness overshadows any of the playful person that was showing up before. Being soft is being more flirtatious. Being soft is, I could relinquish this control. I don't have to delegate. Passing the baton to your baby. Being soft is, you know what, babe, I do struggle. Like having this conversation ideally early on in your relationship. But like, babe, I do struggle with releasing. I do struggle with allowing the man to take the lead because of my position at work, but I am working on it. So if I do show up in a way that is more masculine than you would like, can you point it out to me? Not in a mean way. Maybe there's a code word that the two of you kind of come up with just so it triggers you to say, I'm in my masculine. Let me switch it to my feminine. Could be a code word that the two of you know. So even if you're out and about, he don't have to say you being masculine. He can say butterfly. And you're like, yeah, babe, I got you. more flirtatious, more soft, rest and be face, gone. Super attitude, closed off love, closed off body language. You can open up. You don't have to plan every date. You don't have to plan all of the travel plans, allowing him to do some of those things for you, right? Making sure that we take off these things that other people have put on us. Again, saying that we're difficult. Society has said Black women is difficult. Some Black people have said, and I'm specifically talking about Black men, have said Black women are difficult. They're not taking in account of all the stuff that has been put on Black people, and specifically where society has been ripping the Black man from the family. Some Black men are leaving, but society ripping the Black man from the family, all for their agenda to put Black men in a certain space and place, and sometimes just out of the picture completely when it comes to keeping the Black family together. Because that's where a lot of our wealth is going to come from. That's where the equal footing is going to come from with other ethnicities. They understand how smart we are, but they also know that they have more of the funding. And so if they can continue to break down our minds and keep us in prison and keep us in slavery in our minds, then they still have us. So we're not difficult. You don't have to take on that stereotype of the angry Black woman. You don't. You can decide not to take it on. It's literally making the decision to say, no, I'm not an angry Black woman. I know that I deserve this because I am a woman. Forget my ethnicity. Because I'm a woman, I deserve this. Because you're asking me to do my womanly duties, and I'm not just talking about physical intimacy in the bedroom. I'm talking about physical, I'm talking about just when you think about the woman's duties. You want me to do all of those, but then I also have to the masculine duties in my role as a leader. Those are going to show up. That's okay. It's okay sometimes, but also being able to recognize, so becoming more aware of how you're showing up. So now you can actually turn that switch off. So you can be mom. So you can be wife. Now, let me just back up and say that as a mom, the leadership skills that you have at work, the delegation, the planning, all that stuff, you probably can use that with your child, but not with your spouse. Your spouse is not your child. Your spouse is in partnership. He doesn't want to compete with you. And if you're taking your masculine skill set and trait characteristics into your romantic relationship, again, as I mentioned, now we got two bulls fighting each other. Two bulls are not going to last because at some point somebody is going to become the dominant. So just relinquish it. Just relinquish it. Allow him to lead so you can be soft and pretty. It doesn't mean that you are weak. Softness means nothing. It has nothing to do with being weak. It has nothing to do with you lowering your standards, but it does have everything to do with you knowing how much power you actually possess so you can show up in such a way so you can get what it is that you want, which is seen, loved, respected, cherished, honored. When we're labeled too much is often a reflection of others' insecurities. It has nothing to do with you actually being too much or too difficult. It's somebody else projecting their own insecurities onto yourself. You have to be willing to not let those things stick on you. You're not too much. You're not too difficult. You're just discerning. Thank you guys for being here with me. This 30 minutes actually went by pretty fast. This is Love Restored. You are listening to Marshaun Olaniyan. I am a shift relationship strategist, and I coach outside of Love Restore. I coach successful Black women who are needing help with confidence in their romantic relationship. Because as a leader, you're confident, but in your romantic relationship, that same confidence is not translating. Maybe you're struggling with clarity. I help you to clarify where you're actually at so we can get you to where you truly want to be. So when you're ready to date, you can go out there and show up in your fullness. Your softer side can be on display versus that tough armor and exterior that we talked about last week. So I love you guys, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Again, this is Love Restored. You're listening to KCCR Brownstone Cityscapes Radio. I love you guys, and I will see you on the next episode.